Hey guys, so today I'm going to tell you about Google Ads, the reality versus the expectation. So Google Ads is getting easier and easier to do. Now, if you're Google and you had an agency model, so Google Partners is the agency model, and I think the majority of their revenue, Google only really makes money from ads. Everything else they've really done, Google Plus, which was their Facebook social media, that failed. They're being sued. I think they settled. I got an email about that recently. But a lot of time in Google Plus did not work. Google Glass also failed. Google Auto Driving Car looks like it's going to fail. So a large majority of the things that Google is associated with outside of Google Search do not make it money. Now, when you talk about Google Ads, that makes the majority 97 to 98% of their revenue is generated, and I would assume all of their profit is generated from ads. Now, Google Ads, so right now, or 10 years ago, this was the process. An agency would sell Google Ads to a small business owner or a business owner of any type. The agency would take a 20% cut. I've heard of agencies taking as much as 25%. Plus a setup fee. I've never taken a setup fee, but a setup fee would normally be taken. So this agency would make a ton of money running these ads for Google. Now, Google agency gets 25%, Google gets 75%, client is happy. Well, Google said, and rightfully so, what if we could get rid of this agency and we can take more of the pie? So when I first started PPC, I would charge 20% of the ad spend would be the cost. And then, so if you spent $100,000, my management fee would be $20,000 that month. Now that has declined to 15%, to 10%, to 7.5%. We can't really go much lower than that because at that point, you're talking, not great numbers. And the reason that I dropped from 20 to 15 to 10 to 7.5 is it's getting easier and easier to do Google Ads. Google Ads is what they used to call AdWords, but they did rebranding. And the reason, Google wants it to be so simple that a business owner could use it. They do not want the agency. And videos later this week or at 5 p.m. I'll give you an honest discussion about agencies dying. Ad agencies are not doing very well now because obviously cable TV, a lot of them rely on cable TV, billboards, radio. No one wants that. And in the future, no one will ever want that. That's not where the future is heading. The future is not heading to more radio commercials. Radio commercials are terrible value. I'd much rather have Pandora or Spotify. Traditional radio is just garbage, right? In my opinion, because you're paying a lot of money for very little impact, and I can prove it because one of the clients that I worked with, they had this radio guy do digital, and the numbers didn't track. Like once you put a tag on it, if you give the radio station their own little page, their own little landing page, and they're supposed to only send traffic to the landing page and they can't claim traffic on the regular page, the numbers are just horrendously bad. So back to Google Ads, I think, maybe not right now, but in the next few years, maybe 5 years at most, the small business owner, medium-sized business owner, and especially large business owners with in-house marketers, they're not going to need ad agencies. Because they'll be able to, for Google Ads, they'll be able to run it themselves. The whole point of Google Ads is to make it simpler and simpler and simpler. So I've been doing Google Ads, AdWords since 2012, and every single time I log in, it gets a little easier to use, which is great for me because I don't have to do as much work anymore. But at the same time, I shouldn't be charging 20% if I'm going to do less work. I should be charging 7.5%. Now, we don't even offer PPC services. So do I think PPC will be a good job in the future? Yes. Google Ads will always be there. There'll always be some new platform, Facebook ads. And whenever a platform is new, it's not simple. It's difficult to use. because they're still trying to get the data. They're still trying to collect what works, what doesn't work. So whenever a platform is newer, it becomes it's more complicated to use. Sometimes the buttons don't even work. I remember when Snapchat ads came out and I was trying to click half the buttons wouldn't even work. And I was like, come on, I'm trying to give you money, Snapchat. Come on, just take the money. And they wouldn't take the money. So back to the Google ads, I think there's this mystique, and I see this happen a lot in advertising, is that people with marketing degrees, maybe a PhD and who knows what, they think that they're better than someone with no degree. They think they're better than someone who only has experience. That is just not true. It's absolutely not true in marketing. And Google Ads is one area where it is so evident. Because let's say that the level of intelligence you need for a Google ad is out of a 10 is a 5. Well, that means most people can do it. So then what makes a good ad, what makes a bad ad? A good ad is flexible, it's malleable, it's ever changing. So my competitors are all doing X and I don't want to do X and I want to do something better than them, I do Y. My competitors eventually will learn to do Y. Then I need to do Z. And my competitors will eventually copy it and do Z. So what I'm suggesting is that the more time you put into Google Ads, the better you're going to be. Not because you're smarter, not because you're more clever, but because you're adapting. So if we have 4 dentists and one of them is ever adapting, that one's going to win, not because it came up with a new creative idea, but because it was able to respond in kind. It's almost like evolution if you think about it. I remember Futurama had this it was like a frog and a snake, and then they would adapt together. So the more often something changes, the more often it can get better at what it's doing. That's the same with your campaign. So a campaign today might be very good, but 2 weeks from now it could be very antiquated. If no one changed it, well, I mean, why are we competing with 2 weeks ago? We have new data and we have a new customer and we have a new demographic. We have new statistics and new numbers that we can base our evolution on. So that's my personal opinion, is that Google Ads is not something very difficult. People want to make it seem difficult because they don't want you to do it. You know, this is like a honeypot, right? So all the bears are around the honeypot. Oh, this is so dangerous. I'm getting stunned. Oh, I'm getting injured. But really, it's super simple. I remember I learned Google AdWords at the time, and I became a leading AdWords expert, a 2-time Google award-winning expert. And all I did was spend 14 days on a cruise and studied every day. That's it. That's all it took, 14 days. Now, yeah, it was 20 hours or 18 hours, and it was like just continuous coffee and food, coffee, food. I mean, I must have gained like 20 pounds. But I'm saying that it's not difficult to learn Google Ads as my neighbors continue their construction. Like, it is just, I don't know what is happening right now. They just don't stop. My neighbors do not stop ever. It could be 2 a.m. at night and they will still be building something. I mean, wow. Anyway, hi guys.